And here we go, YouTube coming online. We have Periscope going live, tweet going out. Fellas, remember, if you see it up there on your Twitter, retweet. This is regarding Office 365. We have Daniel Glenn, our co-host, and we have Brian Levenson. Now, just to give us a bit of background, you guys all know Dan Glenn. Dan, where you're from again?
I'm from the wonderful state of Tennessee, U.S.
All
Nashville.
right.
We're getting lots and lots of rain right now.
And Brian?
Ironically, I'm in a dry Seattle, Washington at the moment.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So trade places for the day.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So, Brian, what's your role at Microsoft?
Yeah, I'm a product marketing manager on the Office 365 team, and I specialize in both change management. So how do we release and communicate upcoming changes and new applications and services? And then also, coincidentally, the U.S. government team. So I focus on Office 365 services for the U.S. government and contractors.
Cool. All right. And as you know, one of our focuses with regard to Office 365 is around change, keeping people up to date and passing comment as we go, keeping it relevant with stories. So I see that you do have a couple of sessions at Ignite that are going to be of interest to people. Let me just share that on screen. So while we're getting that up, Brian is going to be, and I've got a question for you around this, Brian. As it comes up on screen, we'll just wait for this to, I'm looking at the times, and you're going to be presenting on Thursday. There's a Keeping Up with Office 365 Evolution in the Real World. Doing it there with Naomi Moneypenny as well. She's lively too. That's at 9 a.m. to 9:45. Then somehow you clone yourself during that same time slot and go to manage an evergreen service. Maybe they're still working these time slots out. What do you reckon?
I think you're probably right, or we have some crazy change management tools we haven't told you about.
This is not the only instance.
Yeah, we're moving some sessions around a little bit. We want to be able to make announcements and then talk about them in the following session.
Definitely. So that first one, which is Keeping Up with Office 365 Evolution in the real world, can you tell us a bit about that?
Absolutely. So I'll be hosting a panel of a couple of different folks. Sounds like you may know Naomi Moneypenny. She's a former MVP, recently joined the product marketing team here within Office 365 at Microsoft. Marco joins us from ABB, where he actually works with the organization and helps manage the change within ABB. And Mike Ziok is from the customer experience team within Office 365. So we'll be talking about change management best practices and experiences actually within the organizations, and then tie that back to the tools that we have within Office 365 to facilitate that.
That sounds interesting. What do you reckon, Dan? Is that one that you might add to your schedule?
I have already done that. Yep. So I think that's going to be a great conversation hearing about how all that's put together. So I've already done it. Yay.
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone else should too.
It's one that, yeah, exactly. It's one that's right in line with our weekly show, isn't it? We're really interested in what change is all about. How do people use the message center as a source for keeping up to date for their tenant? And we look forward to talking to Brian after their announcements at Ignite and diving deeper into how that all works. Because we've got some questions around that. In fact, Dan, you did have a question that we might just briefly address, and we'll definitely dive deeper into it afterwards. What was that question?
Yeah, and I think it's just a little bit will help us promote a little bit of your sessions, but that the question that we often have is what goes into the decisions of the announcements that are in the message center. So is it does it appear, does it not appear? It's from different sources, so different services happening. So there must be some sort of logical flow, hopefully, of some decision making, I guess, for what goes in there. So my question is, can you talk about that a little bit now, and maybe, what can we look forward to in the sessions detailing that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're spot on in that the message center is pulling information from the roadmap, from various channels within Microsoft, our blogs. And what we're seeking to do with the message center in particular is tell you what's upcoming that affects you from an IT admin perspective, and what's affecting your organization from an end user perspective. And the intention here is really to communicate things that require action. So do I need to consider security policies around a new application? Or do action to manage my firewall, or whatever the case may be, really make sure that my users have the optimal experience. We also have the roadmap at roadmap.office.com and a number of other communication channels through which we talk about exciting new things that we're working on. But the message center in particular, because we know what subscriptions are active in the tenant, we know the region in which the tenant exists, and we know how many users you have, even some of the configuration data. We're able to use the message center to be much more precise to what's relevant to you as an admin within that particular environment for those users. And so we'll talk about that during the next session, which is currently scheduled for the same time, Manage an Evergreen Service, Office 365 Release Policies and Communication Processes. And I'll be presenting that along with two of my colleagues, Mike Ziok from the customer experience team, and his team actually manages the message center communications. What gets published, what information do we include, and to what articles and support collateral do we link? And then also with us will be Jeremy from the engineering team that builds the technology that allows us to communicate. Jeremy's team builds the flighting system, the deployment technology, as well as the message center itself.
That's going to be some seriously interesting sessions to go along to as well. If you don't manage to work out the teleporting cloning challenge there, fortunately the sessions will be recorded. We'll see how
My suggestion there
out.
is go ahead and add them to your schedule, and then whenever they do finalize the times, it'll just adjust. So you don't have to worry about that. Just go ahead and add them, and it'll change.
That's exactly right. And as you guys are saying, we are going to record them for folks who aren't able to make it to Ignite at all as well. And we'll be happy to answer questions and continue dialogue through the tech community at techcommunity.microsoft.com to talk about those sessions before and after Ignite, answer questions, and of course take feature recommendations. There's a couple of things that are highly requested that we're very excited to talk about at Ignite, both in the short term and in the long term. And then we'll come back and whether it's me or Mike Ziok himself or a combination of us, we'd love to dig in deep with you guys into the very specifics, maybe even do some demos in real time.
That would be awesome. Yeah, we're looking for that kind of preview and deeper dive because this piece of 365, apart from all the cool features and configurations, is one of the more important places that an admin wants to keep track of. To let their users know what's coming, to let their support team know what's coming to deal with any queries, to plan ahead for any big changes. So looking forward to that. Let's round that out, guys, because just keeping it short and looking forward to the sessions themselves at Ignite. But thank you, Brian, for joining us and giving us a preview. Hopefully that's whet the appetite for those who are attending Ignite. Go along. And as always, Dan, thanks for joining me too. And it's a around the world collaboration. In fact, during planning this meeting, I learned there was a whole other time zone I didn't know of in the States called MDT. Shame on me, but then shame on you, Brian, for calling me a Canadian. Grr.
Exactly.
So that's regarding Office 365 signing out and doing it in a classy way as we are using two streams. Goodbye, YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Disconnecting now.